Emir, welcome to Spartan Gaming. It's a pleasure to have you here. Before we start, can you please quickly introduce yourself a little bit?
My name is Emir. I'm a free-to-play player playing Rise of Kingdoms for over 5 years. I'm here to tell you guys about my journey and how you can do better than me and hopefully get your own journey started.
Why free-to-play? Like, is it a financial decision, or do you like the grinding aspect of the game, or it's just a principle that you don't spend money in the games?
I would say it's a mixture of all those things. I started playing the game when I was 19, so I was fresh out of high school. I didn't have too much money going on, and I definitely had a lot of money for online. But also, this isn't the only game I'm not spending any money on. Like, I don't spend on any game I play, and I would say it's going to continue that way, even though I have the means to actually, So I still try to stick to it, because for me, if I decide to spend right now, lose away like the charm.
The main question that I want to ask you, as a free-to-play, how do you decide when you are investing or skipping a legendary commander?
Well, first of all, I try to see what they bring to the open field. Open field is only your specialty as a free-to-play. You have no business doing rallies or garrisons. What I look for is obviously a lot of buffs, debuffs, and AoE damage. And if a commander that doesn't have it, for example, Nevsky doesn't have AoV, but he's so good in other skills, he's a must-have. And I always try to think of team-oriented investments. How do I make my team better in terms of field fighting, and how do I make my opponents weaker? So that's the main strategy behind investment. And obviously you can see there's a lot of AoV and a lot of support commanders like Trajan. Trajan as a free-to-play, even though it really hurts my hospital, I still do it because I find it to be worthwhile, even though the reports really don't say it. But I still am a firm believer in Trajan even after these years. I do notice a difference when I don't have him on the field and when I do have him. My marches are a lot of tankier, and even if he gets melted, I'm still kind of okay with it, even though sometimes I'm really not. But overall, yeah, you want debuffs, buffs, AoE, and some cool effects that other commanders don't have. Like, perfect example is Guan Yu. Like, he's very outdated in terms of, I would say, even damage when you look at new commanders right now, but he brings something that others don't, which is the silence, which is for 3 targets. And that's something that's not really replicated as of now.
Sorry to interrupt you, but I realized that you have invested on a cav march, a support march, like a leadership, archer, infantry, like all over the place. Is this like the roadmap when it comes to commanders that you recommend to free-to-play players, or do you think they should focus on a certain troop type? And if that's the case, which troop type you think that is?
If you asked me this question before armaments, I would say probably stick to cavalry. But addition of armaments and the addition of these really good commanders, I would try to play with all troop types except leadership, and probably even ranged is an option right now. Low investments that you need to actually make them playable. So having a one range march wouldn't be out of pocket, like if you have some sculptures to spare, obviously. I'm currently running mixed because initially I was an infantry player. And over time, I noticed like there's Nevsky, and I had to really branch out a bit. I had to make a pairing, which is William, and then I tried to find a suitable archer march, which was in YSG, and then paired with Boudica at first. To cut it short, you want to have multiple troop types, and because the commanders are so good for each troop type that you need to have them on the field.
Do you have like an ideal number of marches during the KVK that a free-to-play should use?
I think a good number is having 3 marches. That's like your baseline. And if you want to add a 4th and a 5th, you can do that over time. But you need to also take in mind how much resources you have and the speed ups to cover it. I've had a very hard KVK with 5 marches, and my speed ups really took a dent. So now I have to rethink about my next KVK and how I'm going to approach it. Because if I do 5, I'm not going to last that long. If I do 3, I might do just fine. So you have to adjust depending on how your kingdom matches up in KVKs. Sometimes it's not out, sometimes it's not in your hands, but you have to prepare for whatever it is, regardless. And that's what you have to do.
All right, so speed ups and resources, obviously two main challenges for free-to-play players compared to spenders. And the other thing I would say is clearly the gems. I have 2 questions regarding gems. Number 1 is tips for getting more gems as a free-to-play. And number 2, your favorite events to spend those gems as a free to play.
Well, if you're having multiple farm accounts, and I know some people do, what you can do is very simple. You use your main account to farm all your gems. Let's say, for example, you have a march in a zone you can't really access from your alliance, but maybe even an expansion even. You have a full siege march, and you log in every couple of minutes to move your from node to node if you find very close ones nearby. And you can do that until you're bored of it. But also, I tried this once, but I didn't have the time, nor did I get the habit of logging in that soon every couple 15 minutes, 20 minutes. But it's certainly an effective strategy. And of course, when you enter KVK, the gems are just everywhere from chronicles, from structures, passes. So once KVK comes around, I really am not worrying about gems because I know they're going to be like coming from all sides. Places where I spend gems now is really only two places, and it's the egg event, which I try to do as many spins as possible because of the materials, but also the fragments. That's the main source where I spend my gems on. And the second is the wheel. Yeah, the wheel of fortune is once I have a commander that I want to unlock, for example, that's when I really want to, especially the new infantry that's about to come out soon. So I might have to have gems for that. And of course, the events that come around, like the 7K gem event, of course, and maybe the Alliance event that comes around, and the Esmeralda wheel.
If you could go back now, or if you just start a brand new account, when it comes to spending your gems pre-T5, would you first focus on VIP 14 or Tier 5?
I would say VIP 14. You can have T5, but if you don't have the commanders leading them, you're just gonna feed the enemy. I know people like to complete it. I'm a completionist, so I really kind of rushed my T5s just because I want to have it all done. But I'm fighting with T4s, and my T5s are just there to get killed or to play an Ark of Osiris. And of course, VIP 14 is the minimal, but I know this could kind of a stretch, but I just want to say, like, being at VIP 16, I really noticed the difference when it comes to resource costs and the materials. If I could go back in time, I would push to get VIP 16 sooner because my thought process was once I reached like 14, I could just, press the brakes a bit on the VIP. But in hindsight, I would definitely go for VIP 16.
One thing that I want to ask you, because like your gear and your commanders, like it's looking insane for a free-to-play player. I know that you've been playing for a very long time, but still, like the dedication and determination is crazy. I also noticed that you have like 3 billion plus kill points as a free-to-play, especially when you are someone who doesn't have like run 8 to 10 farm accounts. It is very impressive. So can you give us some, general tips for field fighting as a free-to-play? For example, you previously said that you are fighting with tier 4, so that is a tip. But can you just give us a little bit more?
Well, obviously, everyone should follow is, follow the markers, be in the ball, don't go out of position. These are the obvious ones. But also there are some optimizations you can do. For example, when you're dispatching, you want to have your slowest march in the first rows. So I always put my Trajan last because I don't use them all the time. So for me, my archer march is the slowest, and then it's these two, and cavalry is obviously the fastest. So this is like a micro optimization you could do. I learned this from Socks, and it definitely kind of makes a difference when you're trying to get it to objective really fast. I fight in dot mode, and the tip I want to give is once you're fighting in a ball, and you obviously, try to keep up with everyone so you don't get out of position and then you get focused. And what you want to do is always keep attacking. And if you get a red screen, if you get like 1 or 2 red screens, do not pull back. Right? You stay and hold your ground because it keeps your rage bar up. It keeps the engine going. And you want to transfer that if you're like getting out of position, or if you just want to transfer to a different target, then just boom, all your active skills fire up and the target melts. So you can do that indefinitely until you like really go low on health. But sometimes it's very hard to do because if you're having multiple marches, and this is why I advise having 3, is once you're moving 3 marches, You know, the marchers like circle around the target once you focus on it. If you have 5 marchers or more, they will kind of like try to go around it too much. Like they go around here, and the ball is going from this side, and you're like one march is getting deleted. So you have to like really micro adjust sometimes. But if you use less marches, it's gonna be easier to do.
Do you have any closing words? Thanks so much for all these free-to-play tips.
Considering how much of highs and lows I had in this game, like I was 0, 2, and it's kind of an uphill battle sometimes. I was on the verge of quitting, but in the end I stuck to it, and I don't regret making this decision that I am where I am right now, and I'll continue to play the game, make videos about it, and we'll see how long it goes.
All right, Emir, thank you so much for joining in, and he does have a YouTube channel as well. Link will be in the description and the pinned comment. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I see you on the next one. Goodbye.